It's midnight. The draft is done. You close the tab anyway. You've rewritten the same paragraph 4 times this week. Someone with half your ability just launched. You watched it happen. You're not behind because you're lazy. You're behind because the waiting loop was designed to feel like discipline. Perfectionism isn't a high standard. It's a stall tactic, and your competitors are counting on it. Machiavelli saw this in Florence's courts 500 years ago. The ones who waited for perfect conditions never moved. Same mechanism, different century. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how to break the loop, starting with that draft you just closed. Lock this in and drop it in the comments. I move before I'm ready. Because what's keeping you waiting isn't what you think it is. You've done that more times than you'd admit. Not just that draft, the email in your outbox, the idea you've been almost ready to pitch for months. That's not high standards. That's a loop, and you walked into it before anyone named it. Let's see it clearly. I call this the rehearsal trap. It starts with one small edit. Not because anything's wrong, because changing something feels like moving. Your brain files it as progress. But here's what actually happened. You just spent an hour protecting yourself from the moment the work becomes real. That's stage 1, the safety edit. It feels like discipline. That's exactly what makes it dangerous. The safety edit only works because stage 2 is already waiting. Ready keeps shifting, not because the work got worse, but because your brain keeps manufacturing reasons to stay in the room where nothing can fail yet. The moving target. Some people have been running it for years. Stop. If the target always moves, ready was never real. You invented it to stay safe. Stage 3 was always the destination. While you were perfecting, someone else shipped. Not someone better. Someone who decided imperfect and visible beats flawless and hidden. They own the territory. I call it the filed position. The painful part isn't that they moved faster. It's that the work you were protecting never got seen at all. No one judged it. No one praised it. It just didn't exist. Now that you can name it, the edit isn't your enemy. The belief that it's protecting you is. Drop this in the comments. I move before I'm ready. But the rehearsal trap is only a symptom. Something older is feeding it. Think about the last time you finished something and still didn't send it. Not because it wasn't ready, because you were waiting for someone to say it was time. You called it patience. I call it the permission debt. It started early. Approval meant safety. A teacher, a manager, someone who held the yes. Your brain learned, wait for the nod. Stage 1, the borrowed standard. Made sense then. Your brain just never updated the rule. So now you're waiting on an inbox that never arrives. The authority you're waiting on doesn't know they're supposed to send the signal. Stage 2, the empty inbox. 2 people waiting for the other to go first. Time is the only thing actually moving. Stage 3 is the invisible ceiling. You're not blocked by ability. You're blocked by a permission structure you built, maintained, and handed to someone who doesn't even know they're holding it. Machiavelli documented this in The Prince. Those who wait for perfect conditions surrender initiative to those willing to act on imperfect ones. Courts, then, your last month now. Once you see what's holding that gate, the next question changes everything. Still here? You're not a casual viewer. You're someone building something. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. What's coming next will flip the story you've been telling yourself. Here's what I need you to sit with. The story you've been telling yourself, that your hesitation proves you care more than the people who rush. That story isn't the protection. That story is the mechanism. It's how the loop stays closed. I call this the virtue disguise. Think about the last time someone less careful than you shipped something rougher than yours, and it landed, got seen. And underneath your genuine analysis of what they got wrong, there was something quieter, a thought you didn't finish. That's stage one, the noble comparison. Your brain didn't just evaluate their work, it used their imperfection to justify your stillness. Their roughness became proof your standards were worth waiting for. For a moment, it worked. But stage one only holds until something changes. When they get a second piece out, a third. When the audience starts associating their name with territory you know is yours. Stage two arrives. The compounding gap. Not just time anymore. Positioning, presence. The slow accumulation of their visibility in a space you were supposed to occupy. And the standards that justified the wait still haven't produced anything the world can see. Stop. Sit with this. Because if that's true, it means the people you quietly judged for moving too fast weren't reckless. They understood something about visibility that your standards kept you from learning. Stage three, the credibility inversion. The world doesn't reward the best work. It rewards the work that shows up. The most refined version of something no one has seen is, by every practical measure, identical to nothing. Locke understood this. In the two treatises, his argument was that authority not grounded in demonstrated action is just assumption, a claim. Waiting for permission you never needed was always an assumption, one you maintained, reinforced, and called integrity. Not discipline, avoidance with better branding, not standards, fear wearing a credential, not patience, the gap widening every day you stayed still. And once you see that, the old story no longer fits the facts. You know that moment when you send something before you've had time to talk yourself out of it? Your stomach lifts slightly. Not because it's perfect, because it's real and it's out and nothing terrible happened. That's what moving without permission actually feels like. You felt it. This is how you feel it on purpose. Machiavelli saw the trap. Hobbes explained why it holds. In Leviathan, he argued people accept stillness when the cost of moving feels higher than staying put. Your brain ran that calculation every time and chose the loop. Locke gives us what breaks it. Authority you never consented to can be withdrawn, including the authority you handed to judges who were never in the room. Remember midnight, the closed tab, the draft that was done. Now you see what that was. Not caution, the safety edit running, the empty inbox waiting. The virtue disguise making it feel like standards. 3 stages, 1 loop. Now you have the map. When you name the rehearsal trap, the edits stop feeling like progress. When you see the permission debt, the gate loses its hold. Together, you stop being the person the loop feeds on. Not through force, through seeing it. You came here watching someone else launch while you waited. You saw the loop. You found what was underneath it. Now you have ground. That's not nothing. That's everything. If this shifted something, share it with someone still waiting for the green light. Hit like, subscribe. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince to frighten people. He wrote so those who understood the game could never be its victims again. The draft is done. This time, you hit send.